Okay, welcome everyone. So we will begin tonight on our backs, and I'm hoping that you all have a strap or a belt or a band. So 2 blocks and a strap, and we will begin lying down on our backs for breath connection. Let's begin. So as you work your way down to the floor, I invite you to find any particular stretch that would feel good, maybe just extending the legs for a moment, having the arms up overhead, just reaching through the fingers, reaching through the toes, taking a full breath into the body, and then allowing the arms to fall alongside the body, resting palms on the mat, and just moving the pelvis around, pointing and flexing the toes. And for a bit of time to connect to breath, there's this option of just extended legs and relaxed arms, or you can walk the soles of the feet onto the mat and walk the feet to the edges of your mat and allow the knees to touch. Shifting the pelvis around. And then the opposite of that would be to walk the feet together, allowing the soles to connect and the knees and the hips to open to the side. So find a position. It doesn't have to be anything that I offered just now, where you can relax the physical body and begin to connect to your breath. I find it comfortable to bring a hand to the low belly and another hand to the upper chest, and then just begin to feel the breath shift in and out. And as you gather yourself into this space, you really become aware of everything around us. So the sounds in the room, and the sounds outside the room. You become aware of any scent in the room, maybe any scents from lingering dinner in the kitchen, the temperature of the air, feeling if there's a breeze on the skin. Just taking note through our senses, our external environment. And then if it feels safe and comfortable, you can allow the eyes to close. And we begin to tune in. And we become aware of this interior landscape, what is happening to us and in us. And moment to moment right now, we connect to breath. Just feeling the body breathe in and breathe out. As you set a pace or a rhythm to your breath to carry you through the class, just take a moment to notice the state of the mind. And I find it helpful to be a gentle observer with this. And sometimes it's nice to go back in time and just acknowledge all the events of your day, all the effort and the responsibility of your day, everything that led you to this moment here and now. And from the state of the mind, we can notice how we're feeling. Again, just that gentle observance. And then extending that awareness into the physical body through sensation. Perhaps there's an area of the body that's requiring a little more attention, perhaps is sensitive, feeling stress or strain in any way. And just notice, and we take care as we move through the movements tonight. So if your eyes are closed, we've begun this process of pratyahara, which is sense withdrawal. And I find that it's really a sense awareness and then a soft letting go. So we can tune in to what's happening inside. As you ease into the rhythm of your breath, another option could be to bring the hands to the top of the head. So the right hand to the right side of the head, the left hand to the left side of the head and just allowing the fingertips to touch. Applying any pressure that would feel good to you on the inhale, and then releasing that pressure on the exhale. Just hands to head, becoming aware of your body and space. A few rounds of breath. Settling into the here and now. Maybe taking this moment to change the position of your legs. You can stay with the hands on the head, or you can softly allow the hands to slide down over the eyes, gently cupping the palms so the base of the hands are resting on the cheekbones, the curve of the fingers and the forehead. Maybe opening up the space between the fingers so the thumbs can rest just above the ears. We'll take a few rounds of breath here. You can keep the hands over the eyes, or another option would be to bring the hands over the ears. So just as we cupped the hands over the eyes, we can cup the hands over the ears, the base of the hands resting just below the ears on the lower aspect of the jaw. The fingers can press on the sides of the head. There's always options to bring in some pressure through the fingertips on your inhale, and then relax that pressure on the exhale. And then when you're feeling ready to release, just allow the hands to reach up overhead, giving a stretch through the fingertips, maybe shift and move through the pelvis. If your knees are extended, you may want to walk your feet so your knees are flexed. We'll press the feet down into the mat and then slowly bring the arms alongside the body. And we get some movement in the low body as we draw that right knee, right thigh in. You can interlace the hands in front or underneath the knee. Just give a gentle press. Inhale, engage. Exhale, draw that right knee, right thigh in. And just begin to open through the right hip. Maybe circle out through the ankles. Maybe there's some pops or cracks that are happening. And then we'll release the hands, but keep the knee bent. And if you have a strap or a tie or a belt, we will bring that strap to the sole of the right foot. Adjust the tension on the edges of the strap. And extend the right leg towards the ceiling. So the sole of the foot is parallel to the ceiling. The toes are pointed towards your head. And we are stretching through the back of this right leg. So the back of the head and the shoulders are resting on the floor. Just easy breaths here, opening up through the back of the right leg. We'll take our time as we open and bring this right hand to both sides of the strap or the tie. And we may want to place the left hand on the front of the left hip and micro bend this right knee as you open up the right leg to the side. So you can adjust the tension on the strap to make this action happen. That left knee can stay bent, or you can extend the left leg, whatever feels comfortable. See if you can rest the back of that right arm on the floor, extend through that right heel, and just feel the stretch wrap around the inner aspect of the thigh. A few rounds of breath here. When you're ready to draw that right foot back up through, slightly bend the right knee and activate the hands with the strap, pulling that right leg through center. And you may want to straighten the left leg here and then take the strap with the left hand and allow this right leg to fall over the left side of the body. Just make any space that is needed. And take a few breaths here. The gaze can be towards the ceiling. You can release that right hand out to the side. You may even want to turn the head and neck towards the right shoulder or the right arm. Just adjust the tension on the strap with the left hand. Slightly bend this right knee. Draw that activation so you can bring that right leg back through center. Both hands will take the strap for one more round of breath here. Sole of the foot facing the ceiling. Drawing the toes towards your head. And then releasing the strap as you bend the right knee. Interlace the hands in front. And just one more knee to chest or knee to abdomen. Circling out through the ankles. And then we'll find release here. So just take a moment as you adjust the strap to the other side. You may want to stretch out long through that right leg. Maybe just take a pause, a moment where you notice sensation right to left. And bend the knees again, shifting it out through the hips. We'll draw that left knee in and interlace the hands in front of the left knee or underneath, wherever it feels good to make connection, and then draw that left knee, left thigh to the left side of the body. A few rounds of breath here. You may notice some sensation in the front of that left hip. And then we'll release one hand, find that strap, and adjust the strap to the left side of the foot. So just find that place of comfort with the strap as you extend the left leg up towards the ceiling. Just start with holding the strap with both hands, and then extend through the left heel, pointing the toes towards your head. And breathe into the back of the left leg. Taking the time to find the strap in the left hand. Right hand will come to the front of the right hip as you begin to open up that left leg to the side. This is where we become aware of our body in space as the legs lengthen out. And just breathe into that stretch that wraps around the inner thigh on the left side. Slight flexion in that left leg, activation to draw the left foot back through center. Take the strap with the right hand this time, and then just allow the left leg to fall over the right side of the body. So the gaze can be forward towards the ceiling. You may want to open up this left arm this time and readjust your gaze over towards the left arm, left shoulder. Take one or two more rounds of breath here. And then we'll bring the left knee into flexion, activate through that left leg, Use the strength of the arms and the tension on the strap to draw the left leg back up through center. Take the strap with both hands. One more stretch here through the back of the left leg. Head toe stretch with the strap. And then bring that left knee into flexion. And just set the strap aside. From here, we'll take the left knee and the right knee in and just begin to rock it out. So moving through the hips and the low back. We'll bring that movement to stillness. Make any adjustments with your body on your mat. Knees will stay bent. We'll walk the feet in towards the pelvis and just reach down with the fingertips and see if you can find the tips of your heels, pressing the feet down into the mat, and then bring your hands to the front of the hips. So as you hold on to your hips, you can notice that the pelvis can tilt towards the ceiling, and then you can rock the pelvis back down towards the mat. So just taking some time to move through the hips and the pelvis as you remember the rhythm and the pace of your breath. Just allowing the breath to move through you. And then the next time your pelvis is down towards the mat, so you've tucked your pelvis down, that low back curve is pressing into the mat. You can allow the arms to be alongside the body, palms down, and we're just going to slowly press into the feet and lift the pelvis up. So we're taking some bridge presses. From here, the chin will tuck underneath towards the chest, and we can lift up through the arms. So just some gentle, slow movements to warm up. Reaching the arms up overhead, full breath into the body, and then feel free to lower yourself with the exhale. So lowering the arms and lowering the spine, and then we're just moving with the breath. So begin to coordinate that movement of lifting, arms extending, breath in, and then exhale, lowering, arms down, and breath out. So take a few more rounds here, pausing at any point within the stretch that would feel good for you. I'll take a few more rounds. As you exhale and release the pelvis down, releasing the spine down. Again, we'll take those knees in. One hand on each knee and just rock it out from side to side, maybe opening up the hips a little bit more. Rocking onto the shoulders, the side of the body. And we'll use this momentum to roll all the way onto the right side. So we'll come all the way onto our side. We're actually going to stay on our side. So find that long edge of your mat. Be side lying here and extend that right arm. So you're resting the head on the right arm. The left hand can be on the left hip here. So just exploring the body on this right side, and slowly we're going to lift the head and neck. So just activating through the upper body and then lowering. So just lifting head and neck away from that right arm and then lowering. A few more times, just strengthening through the upper body, the head and the neck. Just feeling all the muscles, the back of that right arm, pressing into the mat and the floor to make this action happen. One more round and then we'll lower. And then I like to stabilize through my left hand and then just come up halfway and slide this right arm back in. So the forearm is pressing down and I'm holding myself up with this right forearm and my right elbow. Then I can bring my left hand to my left hip and then just adjust the legs. And then we will lift the left leg. So we're hovering here. And then just begin to explore some movement. So you have your leg lifts, right? You can lift and lower, lift and lower. You may want to add the arm along with the leg. So lengthening, extending through the leg, reaching through the arm. Maybe you draw the leg forward and the arm follows. The leg can go back. So reaching that left leg forward, following with the arm. The hand can always stay on the hip if you need more stability. Maybe that left knee begins to flex with the left elbow. So left elbow, left knee flexes and then lengthens and extends. So just moving through some different options through the knee and through the hip, through the shoulder and the elbow. When your left knee is bent, you may want to slide this left hand towards the left foot. This is a great opportunity to use the strap if you can't make this connection happen. So just press that left hand into the front of the left foot and just stretch through the front of the left thigh. So using the strap is helpful. You actually get a little bit more tension and more stretch with the strap. You have the limited mobility with hand to foot. Just see how that feels. And then slowly we'll release. We'll lower the left leg. And then from here, we are going to move onto our bellies. So just rolling onto the front of the body. Taking a moment to settle the hips, soften through the tops of the feet. And as you lower the chest towards the mat, we're reaching through the fingers, reaching through the arms. Tuck the chin, forehead to the mat. So just point through the toes, reach through the fingers, full breath in, and long breath out. One more, reaching through the fingers, reaching through the toes. Just as we did in the beginning, as we were centering on the breath and we were on our backs, we're doing the same thing, but now on the belly. So reaching through the fingers, reaching through the toes, and then releasing. Very gently, we can lift the head and neck, and we can walk the hands over to the right corner of the mat. So stretching through the left side of the body. You can keep your head and neck lifted, or you can tuck the chin. And then walk the hands over to the upper left corner of your mat. Find your reach. Again, you can leave your head and neck lifted, or you can tuck the chin. And then just breathe through the right side of the body. Take a moment with the hands through center. You may want to fold the forearms and rest the forehead on the forearms. Take a few rounds of breath here with belly to mat. Notice how you can breathe into the upper and middle and low back. And then exhale long and slow. We'll take one more round. Breathing into the back of the body. And exhale long and slow. In your own time, we're going to rotate onto the left side of the body. And we'll take all those side stretches. So find your way, left side. And then keep that left arm long. Left ear resting on the left arm, stabilizing with the right hand. Just feel the left side of the body onto the mat and onto the floor. And slowly we'll take those neck lifts. So activating through the head and neck, just lifting. Feeling the strength now on the left side, lifting head and neck and then lowering. Lifting and lowering. We're just taking a few rounds, noticing how the body feels with this movement. And then resting. Pressing into that right hand, even rolling slightly forward to slide this left hand in, coming back onto this left forearm and left elbow. So we can find stability on the left side. So that right hand can be on the right hip. We can begin to lift the right leg. So we're just working with our leg lifts, lifting and lowering. Just exploring your body in space. You may want to add the arms. So just the arm and the leg, and then making the movement of lifting and lowering. Breath is moving through the body. You can extend the leg forward and then back, forward and then back. And if it feels comfortable, you can add that flexion with the right knee, flexion with the elbow, and then the extension. Taking a few more rounds here, or allowing this right knee to stay bent and reach down, find your strap, strap up the right foot or bring the right hand to the top of that right foot, press the foot into the hand and open up through the front of this right thigh, the front of the right hip. So even with this action more focused towards the lower part of the body, we're still stretching through the shoulder, through the arm, finding that press point and activation through the top of the foot and the hand, either holding the strap or the foot. Slow release. We'll extend that right leg. And then from here, we will bring the belly back to the mat. You can fold the forearms and just rest the head on the forearms. Very slowly, we are sliding this right knee and right hip out to the side. So you may want to bend the right knee, circle through the ankle first, and then open up this right knee to the side, and then allow the right foot to find the left leg. So we are belly down in a tree pose. So we'll use this passive opening through the right hip and the right knee with the mat and the floor. You can certainly turn your head to one side to ease up any tension on the head and neck. Easeful breaths into the back of the body, into the right hip and the right knee. We'll take one or two more rounds of breath, and then we'll switch it out to the other side. So if at any point you feel ready to do that, go ahead. Don't wait for me. Slowly rotating onto the front of that right leg, finding that bend in the right knee and then sliding the right leg back towards the left, finding that extension of the right leg, and then slowly bringing a bend into the left knee and the left hip. And then allow the left foot to find some aspect of the right leg, just to make that connection through center. You may want to turn your head to one side and find a few rounds of breath with the sensation of lying tree pose here. So we're just working through a very slow, gentle warm-up at the beginning of practice. working through sensation, breath connection, lengthening through arms and legs, and just finding that quality of openness, but also that quality of reaching and growing. So we had some time yesterday where the moon was new, and that's a time where things can be reflected upon, intentions can be set. And it's also this real midpoint of spring, and all the trees and the flowers are in blossom. There's a lot of pollen floating about, but it's nice to see the trees sort of extending their limbs up towards the sun. So that idea here within the body, extending through our own limbs, extending through arms and legs. Carry that imagery with us as we shift through the practice tonight. So very slowly, in your own time, you can bend through this left knee, shift the weight to the front of this left thigh, circle out through the ankle, and then just slide this left leg back towards the right. You may want to extend the left leg, point the toes, and tuck the chin towards the chest and make some connection with the forehead. For one more round of breath. And then we'll bring the hands underneath the shoulders and just shift the weight from side to side. It's helpful to bend the knees and just bring activation through the tops of the thighs. And then you can just push the mat away and come right up into your hands and knees pose, your table pose, and just begin your rock backs. So shifting the weight forward, shifting the weight back, maybe circling it out from side to side. As you circle, change direction, coming down onto the forearms, just opening things up with the knees and the hips, pressing down through the tops of the feet, maybe taking a moment in your child pose, and then circling it back around. And as you come through center, pressing down through the fingertip pads, the large pad of the thumb. And we'll move the awareness towards the pelvis. As you gently rotate the pelvis down towards the mat, open up the shoulders, lift your gaze. And then exhale, chin to chest, tucking the pelvis. You can round the spine and shift the weight from side to side. So we'll just rotate here, inhaling and exhaling, moving at your own pace with these spinal stretches. So you have this quality of rooting down through the palms, the tops of the feet, making connection through the low legs and the knees. We'll walk the hands to the upper right corner of the mat. You can come up onto tented fingers, lifting the wrists, pressing down through the fingertip pads, and then hang the head heavy here. Slowly walking the hands to the upper left corner of the mat. You can press down through the base of the palms, or if you liked the lift, through the wrist. Allowing the head and neck to slide through the arms. And then slowly we'll walk the hands through center. Palms can press, or your fingertips can press. You can choose that action that feels comfortable in your body, and then just allow the head and neck to slide through. From some of us, the forehead may touch the mat. For some of us, the head and neck dangle. And then if that's the case, tuck the chin and just shake your head softly, yes or no. Breathe into the back of the heart space. And then we'll slide the hands back towards the shoulders. We'll draw the right knee in towards the right elbow, and then extend that right leg back out, touching the great toes down, first, and then seeing if any other toe can make a connection to the mat, and you're pressing the top of the foot into the mat, extending through the back of the right leg, through that right heel. I should say extending and pressing the top of the sole of the foot. And then from this point, you can draw that right knee back in into flexion and then extend, make that touch point. Some of you may want to push the hands into the mat as if you're pushing the mat away from you, and you can hover that left knee and just see how that feels in the upper body. So activation, breath in, breath out, and then slowly lower. We'll draw this right knee back in. And from this position, we'll take the left hand underneath the gaze and allow the right arm to extend out to the side. You can shift the hips back, and we can open this right arm all the way up towards the ceiling. So take that stretch through the side body, and then we'll thread this right arm underneath the left. So find a position with the knees where you feel supported, so you can come down onto this right shoulder, right side of the head. If this feels like too far of a reach, you can always lay out a few blankets for that upper shoulder support. Otherwise, we'll walk the left hand forward, reaching through the fingers, lifting through the wrist if that feels comfortable. But we're pressing the right hand, the back of the right hand down into the mat or the floor, and just feeling this whole upper shoulder pull away from the center line of the body. So a few rounds of breath with that sensation. Some of you may want to reach back with the left hand and just rest the back of the left hand onto the low back. The deeper stretch would be to reach this left arm up towards the ceiling as you press the back of the right hand into the floor. We'll take some time to release this left hand. Slowly bring the left hand back towards the left shoulder. Use the strength of the left side of the body to unthread the right side. We'll come back into our hands and knees pose, maybe readjusting the knees, finding some circles and some rock backs here. And then we'll take this left knee in towards the left elbow and extend that left leg. Touch down with the left great toe, and then see if each toe can follow. Just pressing the sole great toe pad down into the mat, extending out through that left heel. You can stay here and enjoy the stretch, or press the hands into the mat. Press the toes into the mat, push the mat away, and just hover the right knee this time. So just feel the strength in the upper body, the stretch in the back of that left leg. Keep the breath moving through. And bring this right knee down. And then slide this left knee back to the right. And this time we'll bring the right hand underneath the gaze, and you can shift the hips back at any point here. I find it helpful to shift the hips back as we lengthen out with the left arm. Reach that left arm all the way up towards the ceiling. Feel the stretch there. And then you can thread the left arm underneath the right. So again, make any adjustments with the knees. If you had a folded blanket to assist with the shoulders, lay it out here. Take your time to find the back left shoulder, pressing this left hand down, the back of the left hand down into the mat, and then walking this right hand forward, just reaching through the fingers, maybe lifting the wrist, maybe lifting the whole right arm, or just folding that forearm back and finding hand to the low back. Notice the subtle differences from right to left. Find an area of comfort for the head and neck. And just take a few rounds of breath here on this side. Anytime that you're ready to release, gently slide this right hand towards the right shoulder. Use the strength of the right side of the body to unthread the left arm. And walk the hands forward. Readjust the knees. We're back in our hands and knees position, taking some rock backs. And working our way into table and downward dog. So curling the toes under and finding the hands that push in to the mat with open fingers. Maybe pushing the hands into the mat and then allowing the knees to hover. So if you're pushing the mat away, knees are hovering, and then slowly lifting the hips, allowing the head and neck to slide through the arms. Take some time in your downward dog. Your head is below your heart. Perhaps the legs will walk it out right to left. You can open up the feet hip width or at the width of the yoga mat. Just changing up the feet and shifting things out from side to side. I always like to move a bit in the downward dog, so side to side movements shift the weight. And then there's this other option of bending the knees, so the low legs are parallel to the mat, and you shift the shoulders over the wrists and gently push the mat away and straighten the legs as you realign the head and the neck. So there's this circular movement, flexed elbows and flexed knees, and then lengthening through the arms and the legs. I call it a downward dog wave. And then you can reverse the direction. If you find that there's any tension in the head and neck, just gently shake your head, yes or no. Taking 1 or 2 more rounds of breath here. And very slowly, we are walking the feet towards the hands. So hanging in our forward fold. If you have a block, it's nice to hold on to the edges of a block for extra length in the upper body. You can release this head and neck, chin to chest. And I like to shift and sway, so bending the knee and then lengthening the other leg. Shifting it out from side to side. And as you press the feet into the mat, just become aware of the pad of the great toe, the small toe, the inner heel and the outer heel, softening through the knees. And we'll just dangle the arms and we'll do a gentle roll up. So just allowing the arms to dangle, activating through the low body so the knees are flexed. If you put your hands on the front of your thighs, you feel some activation on the muscles there. So we're just rolling up. Shoulders back, head and neck lift, and then very slowly we're going to tuck the chin and we're rolling back down. So finding that flexion within the spine, reaching the arms down, And then just take a moment, press into the feet, and we'll roll back up. So we come to standing, make any adjustments in the physical body, circle out through the wrists, circle out through the ankles, maybe take a moment for water. An adjustment of the microphone. And we'll come to stand in our mountain pose. So just rocking the feet forward and back. Shrugging the shoulders. Gentle tuck to the pelvis. We'll inhale, opening up the palms and allow the arms to reach up towards the ceiling. Maybe the gaze will follow here. And then as you exhale, just bring the arms halfway down in this T position. So the palms are facing down and the fingers are reaching out away from you. So just take a moment, close your eyes if that feels safe for you. Think about your back body. Think about the length of your arms. Think about your legs reaching down, your feet rooting through the mat and the feet. And as you extend through the arms, imagine that you are being pulled to the right and then pulled to the left. So just feeling these movements as they begin, they sort of originate in the pelvis and then uplift through the spine. These are reaching muscles, lengthening muscles, and then allowing the eyes to open if they were closed, and we'll begin small circles. So just circling the arms in one direction, and then changing the direction, circling the arms in the opposite direction. Come back through center, so our arms are still in T position, and then we begin to flex the wrists and extend the wrists. So here we are, flexing the wrists down, extending through the wrists as if our palms are pushing walls away. And then find your flexion, rotating down, fingers pointing towards the floor. So just moving with this sensation and allowing the breath to move through you. And then we'll bring the arms down alongside the body, shake it out. Elbows will come up into flexion. So those are cactus arms or goalpost arms. And we're just going to reach up and then pull down. Reach up and then pull down. So it's as if you're squeezing the shoulder blades together. So reaching up, pulling down, reaching up. And this pull down motion from here can drop that right elbow down towards the right hip and then reach with the left arm up and over. And then drop this left elbow down towards the left hip and reach that right arm up and over. So switch it out from side to side. Just moving at a pace that feels comfortable and right for you. When you're ready and complete, we'll just extend the arms up. Full breath in the body. And exhale, slowly lowering the arms. So there's a lot of spatial awareness now happening in the upper body. See if we can make that happen in the lower body. So hands to hips. Well, extend your space on your mat in your own space. So you're standing on the long side of your mat. And then we'll open up the feet wider than the hips. So hands are on the hips here. And just rock it forward and back. Maybe lifting up through the heels and then lifting up through the toes. Noticing how the strength happens on the outsides of the legs as you rock forward and back. And then wraps around towards the front. See how it feels for you. And then slowly we'll rotate the right toes towards the small edge of your yoga mat and then bring a bend in that right knee. So we're moving into our warrior two position through the legs. So I always like to teach a flexion and extension, just a movement within the body, and take your time with your stance. And then hold on that warrior two position that feels good for you. Inhale, arms up. And then you can exhale the arms into that horizontal T position. Gaze can follow over that right hand. And remember that pulling sensation, the lengthening through the arms. You can just touch back and see what happens. We have this parallel action with the arms. So just see how that feels for you. So we're reaching through the fingertips, and then we will bring the palms and the forearms together, and you can interlace the hands. You can come into steeple pose, however you like to make a connection with the hands, but we'll inhale the arms up. So we're just going to move up and then move down. So we're going to dive down, pointing those toes towards the mat, and then lifting back up, and then diving down. Again, just allowing the breath to move through you, finding the rooting through the feet, the uplift through the spine, reaching through the arms, finding that steadiness and grounded connection through the low body. When you're ready, we'll inhale and reach up. Come back into our warrior two position. Straighten that right leg. And then have this quality of reaching forward beyond the right toes. And then before you come into your triangle pose, reach back through your left hand. Reach that left hand beyond the left toes. And just as if you're being pulled from side to side, just exploring that movement within the torso. Gaze can follow the hands. And then very slowly, we'll reach those right hands beyond the right toes, micro bend this right knee, and then just windmill the arms. So we're reaching up with the left hand, reaching down with the right hand. You can certainly take a block and then hold the block on the inside of the foot or the outside of the foot. I like to press the back of the right hand on the inside aspect of the right leg. Root down through the feet. Take your gaze up towards the ceiling or towards the wall. The breath moves through you. And then inhale, lift up and out of the waist and reverse your triangle. So the left arm slides down the left leg. We're reaching up with the right hand. And then inhale, come back up. We can finish it out with our warrior two on the right. Hands to hips. Straighten the right leg and dial the right toes forward. So just these rock backs in a wide leg standing pose. And slowly we will take it to the other side. So make your adjustments in your space. The toes of the left foot will face the short side of your mat, and we'll just work in with our flexion and extension here. So you know the flow, you know what's coming. The awareness of the body, the front, the sides, and the back. We're shifting into our warrior two position on the left side, so arms can come up and then down. Find this T position. Maybe just reach through the right fingertips and the left fingertips. Then the palms can touch, forearms can touch. You can make the clasping of the hands in a position that feels good for you as you reach the arms up towards the ceiling. So full breath in here, exhale, you can dive it down. Press into the feet to reach up. Dive it down, reach up. Dive it down, and reach up. Inhale, find your lift. Exhale the arms back down. You may want to straighten this left leg at this point without locking that left knee. Just take a moment to reach beyond the left foot, then reach beyond the right foot. So find the movement in the torso from side to side here. And then reach the left hand beyond that left foot, and then windmill the arms down. So use the prop with the left hand or the back of the left hand, pressing into that left leg. Reaching up with the right arm. Find your gaze up or to the side. A few rounds of breath here. And then we'll inhale, lift up and out of the waist, and reverse that triangle. So right arm slides down the right leg, reach up with the left arm. And enjoy your warrior two for one more round of breath. Hands to hips. Dial the left toes forward. Roll the shoulders back. Perhaps take a moment where you can lift your gaze towards the ceiling for a mini back bend, and then exhale, hinging at your hips. You're coming forward. So that's just halfway. The torso's facing the mat, parallel to the floor. And then you can release the hands down. If you have a prop, you can hold on to the prop or tented fingers, but just shake your head yes or no. Take a moment here, the wider stance. Bring the breath into the backs of the hips, the backs of the legs. We'll slowly come up halfway. Bend into the right knee, bend into the left knee. So we're activating through the legs. And then if you're pressing the hands into a block or you're on tented fingers, we can slowly toe heel the feet closer together. And then roll up. So just dangling those arms, rooting the feet down into the mat into the feet. Roll the shoulders back and down. We'll circle out through the ankles. We're getting close to 8:30. So let's take a balancing pose and then we'll work our way down onto our mat for some cooling poses. So tree pose is coming. We were working it in different angles here. So if you haven't stood on one leg for a while, a chair or a wall is really nice. And you can just come to the side, reach the hand to the wall or hold on to the chair. We'll start by standing on the left leg and just unpeeling the right heel. So there's so many movements that you can explore through as you draw the right knee up and then extend that right leg back. So we're just working through flexion and extension. And then I like to bring the hand to the knee and open up to the side and then come back through. These are all positions that you can work with if you're working in balance. So just finding those movements forward and back and then side to side. And then see how you want to root down in your tree, keeping the knee and the hip externally rotated, and then finding some connection with that right foot and left leg. Hands can start on the hips, gaze can be down, one arm on your support prop. Just connect to breath and extend your limbs. Open up your palms, reach your limbs up towards the ceiling. Or make that connection to the belly and to the heart space. This is your expression of your tree pose. The dogwood trees, cherry blossom trees. And then slowly take your time to work it out to the other side. So that shake and release, shaking it out from side to side. It's nice. Make any adjustments for your support prop. And then the right leg will be the standing leg this time. So rooting down through the foot. Hands to the hips or one hand to the wall or the chair. Just popping up through that left heel. circling out through the ankle, and then just start with your flexion and extension. Just open things up, forward and back, and then to the side. Maybe using the hand to help assist. And then think about where you want to plant the left foot towards the right leg. So the standing leg is strong, it's rooted, but those beautiful joints are not locked. So try to find a softening there on the right side. Focus your gaze on something that doesn't move. Keep your concentration, and then grow your limbs. Just notice any subtle differences from right to left. Reconnect to your breath. Hands to hips, you can release that left side. You may want to shake out the right leg. We'll take our time to walk along the mat. Finding your way towards the top of your mat. Inhale, open up the palms, reach through the fingers. Take a full body stretch here. And then as you exhale, extend the arms and dive it down. So folding forward here, soften through the knees. Allow the thighs to make connection to the torso or the abdomen. And just rock it out. Shift and sway from side to side. You can walk your hands all the way to the right. Walk your hands through center and back all the way to the left. Hands can come to a block or a prop or the low shins, and you can extend through the crown of your head. And then slowly release those hands back down towards your prop. Just allow them to dangle. Hands and fingers touching the mat. So shifting and swaying from side to side. I like the slow walk back into the downward dog. So fingertips will make connection to the mat, and we'll just make our movements happen with the low body. Walking back. Finding downward dog. Head below the heart. Full body stretch from the backs of the legs, and the back of the heart, the arms, strong shoulders. We'll press the weight into the left foot, slightly flex this right knee and bring the right knee in towards the right elbow. So there's our flexion, our extension of the right leg back behind us. Soften this left heel. Some of you may want to bend this right knee and then open up the right hip. So we allow the weight of that right leg to open a little bit more through the front of the right hip. Realign the right leg. And from here, we are drawing this right knee in and then extending that whole right leg underneath us. So it's as if we are threading the needle with the right leg. You can keep that right knee bent. I'll move a little bit here so you can see we're coming into fallen warrior. So we're just bringing this right leg out to the side. And then slowly we're coming all the way down onto this right hip. So the knees can be slightly bent, especially this back left knee can be bent. Props are nice. Come up onto tented fingers. So you can see this action, this twist through the torso. We're pressing down through the front of this right hip, the outside aspect of the hip, and then we're coming up with the torso, and then we can walk the hands forward onto the forearms, and you can release the head and neck. So the block is great, any folded blanket. So this extension of the leg is enough. We're just using the weight of the body to open up the outside aspect of that right leg. So take a few rounds of breath on this side. Just notice sensation as it comes up. Notice the state of the mind and how you're feeling inside. Even though there was a lot of activation in this class and we're winding things down now, everyone is unique. Sensations and emotions, they change like the wind. They change with each breath. We'll take 1 or 2 more rounds of breath and then we'll begin to reactivate the body and switch it out to the other side. So just rolling the forehead from side to side. If it's making connection to the prop, you may want to unpeel it away. Shift the prop out to the side. Use the strength of the upper body to walk the hands back onto the mat. I like to bend this left knee and then extend and tuck the left toes so I can press the hands into the mat and shift the torso down and lift up my right hip, and then just slide or drag that right leg back and gently walk into your downward dog. So there's a lot of strength on that right side of the body to make that action happen. So find a stretch through center, full round of breath here. And then pressing into that right foot, the left knee will come in. Find your flexion and then your extension. You may want to bend the left knee this time, open up through that left hip, and just allow the weight of the left foot to further open through the front of that left side of the body. When you're ready to realign, we're bringing this left knee in, and then we're extending this left leg underneath the right arm. So just threading that left leg underneath the right side of the body and allowing the left hip to come down. There's a bend in the back right knee, and then you can soften the foot. If you had a prop for one side, you may want it for the other. Lengthen the arms, make adjustments. Find this gentle twist and bring ease into the upper body as you soften the head and the neck onto your prop. So there's no activation or effort. There's no pointing of the toes. If anything, there's a softening that's happening through the knees and the ankles. The press point is the outside of this left hip, and then this sort of uplift and twist through the spine. Your forearms may still be supporting you a bit. Some of you may have forearms and forehead connected. Just allow the breath to move through the body. And we'll just stay here for a few more breaths. Slowly rock the forehead from side to side. Press the weight into the left side, maybe sliding the hands towards the shoulders and peeling the forehead away from the prop, setting it aside. And then finding this activation through the back leg. So just holding the torso slightly forward. So shifting that torso forward and then lifting through that left hip, sliding the left leg back. Downward dog for 1 or 2 more rounds of breath. You may want to shift forward and back, but ultimately find your knees down on your mat. You can take the knees a bit wider, allow the great toes to touch. We'll shift the hips back. Find a few moments in your child pose where the forearms can rest, or maybe you take your head into your hands here. Just use the support of your hands to rest your head. Making our way onto our backs. So shifting back into our table pose. Crossing at the ankles. There's always time for rock and rolls if that's calling to you. Otherwise, we will just slowly lower ourselves, spine to mat, the way that we began. A few final stretches and then we'll come into rest. So extending the left leg, bringing the right knee in, interlacing the hands in front of the right knee or underneath, just giving a gentle knee to chest or knee to abdomen stretch. You may want to open that right hip, right knee to the side, just mimicking that tree pose when we were standing. Just taking a moment here, or that right foot can be on top of the left thigh. That's another option. Taking a round or two of breath here. And then slowly bringing that right knee back in. So full flexion. You may want to drop this right knee over the left side of the body for a twist, keeping that left leg long and extended, maybe opening up through the right arm, gaze follows. Just some options. Coming back through center as you slide this right leg alongside left. Bending into this left knee, interlacing the hands in front, knee to chest here. Opening up this left hip and left knee to the side. And just allow this left leg to fall out to the side, mimicking that lying tree pose or bringing the left foot to the top of the right thigh. Draw that right knee back in. Take your time to connect to breath, make any adjustments in the pelvis, and then perhaps bringing this bent left knee across the right side of the body with an extended right leg, opening up the left arm and allowing the gaze to follow here. And as you bring that left knee back through center, Take any final stretch that would feel good in your body. So the left knee can stay bent, the right knee can come up. Maybe take the knees in the hands and just rock it out from side to side. One of those intuitive stretches that you take to wind yourself down, maybe to find a few props, a bolster, a blanket, some blocks, and come into any position of rest that would feel good to you. We'll take a couple minutes. We may go a little bit over time, but not too long. So if you must go, have a beautiful rest of your week. If you want to stay with me, we'll take a couple minutes here, stillness together, either with the knees connected, feet out to the side, the way we began, or you can bring the soles of the feet together, and the knees and the hips move out to the side. Blocks can fall underneath the outsides of the knees. Or perhaps you just slide the blanket or the bolster underneath the thighs and the knees and rest through the low body. Settle the weight of the body down into the mat and into the floor and into the earth. Hands can rest on the low belly. And just begin to feel the breath move through you. Gentle and easeful. You may choose to take an extended rest here, or we can close together by beginning to breathe deeply into the body. Find gentle movement through the fingers and the toes. Begin to circle out through your ankles, your wrists. Extend through your limbs, upper and lower. As you shift and move through your hips and your shoulders, your knees and your elbows, slowly find your way onto one side of the body. And take your pause. Notice how you're feeling in your mind. Notice how you're feeling in your heart. And if it feels safe and comfortable, you can keep your eyes closed, keep your energy internal, and just gently press up. Find your seat as we close practice together. with hands to heart space, our hands holding your heart. You can bow here and thank yourself for your practice, taking time to extend the gratitude beyond to anyone that holds space with you. May we all have peace in our minds and peace in our hearts.